Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Insurance Journal's Academy of Insurance's weekly webinar after show. I'm your host, George, and joining me for the after show today is the director of the Academy of Insurance, Mr. Patrick Wraight, and today's instructor. Today's class was and is Space Needs Spring Cleaning, the Growing Problem of Satellite Pollution, a toe tapper, and our instructor is Dr. Brenda Wells. Dr. Brells, I guess, would be the power couple if Brenda Wells was seeing herself, I guess. But Brenda, welcome to the after show. It's great to have you here, and thank you for being one of the classes that helps us kick off our 2026 webinar season. Great to see you.
It's great to be here, George. Always fun with you and Patrick, and I enjoyed being part of today's class. It was a fun class to put together, and I got the idea for it last semester when a student, I said, what do y'all want to learn? And couple students threw out some topics, and somebody said, how about satellite pollution? And I went, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he said, all the stuff that's orbiting the Earth. And I went, okay, I'll look into it. And then I found it very interesting. I think it's a very interesting topic.
So I look like I'm the anchor of a classy news desk behind me, like a world news desk. But actually, that's a picture of Australia, which I should have shrunk down. Australia is the continent that Skylab hit when it started falling to Earth. And in the class, you had answered a question about Skylab. But since I asked the question, do you remember anything else more about when Skylab fell originally? Was there a hue and cry about, despite it being maybe a one-off disaster where the satellite broke up and fell to Earth and hit Australia, were there any discussions back then, do you think, possibly about satellite insurance, or hey, this might be a problem down the road? Or was it just like, that's just Skylab, just hit Australia, no problem?
It's just Australia. I don't know. The years that it happened, to be honest, I was in high school and I didn't really pay attention to it. I mean, I know it happened, but right. I haven't incorporated that into my studies of this subject, but I will. I just need to look into it because it's a great question.
Thanks. Well, I'm trying. It's a better question than a slide, I guess, in the back of me. And thanks for the Brells thing. I just thought, I don't know. Never mind. Hey, Brenda. So you said that there's like 10,000 satellites potentially orbiting the Earth, and you estimated that there could be maybe 6 times that amount. What kinds of satellites do you think will be do you think some will kind of go away and other kinds will take their place, like any kind of space exploration, like stations in space? Will that become the more prevalent kind of satellite, and communication satellites will go away? Or do you think it'll be an even mixture of what we have in there now, or up there now, I should say?
The sheer investment for a communication satellite is an average of $250 million, as we talked about in the class. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think anybody's going to go, well, let's spend $250 million so we can phase this out in 5 years. I think they're going to be there. I think there are, as I mentioned in the presentation, you've got, is it Skylink and Kuiper?
Starlink and Kuiper.
Kuiper, okay. Kuiper. You've got them, and they're putting up a lot of satellites, a lot. And I wonder, do the people in charge of this satellite proliferation, do they understand this phenomenon? Do they know? My guess is they do. But my other question is, do they care? And I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. You'd be surprised at what all Amazon has its fingers in. We had a major computer crash on campus last semester because one of Amazon's servers went down. I didn't even know we used Amazon servers. And so, these satellites are pretty critical to communications, and with that comes international security. There are a lot of issues tied up with these satellites if something happens to them and they break down. You and I don't know about you, but if my cable goes out, I'm not happy. I want to watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it. And I think most people are like that. So the continuity of these satellites and what they can provide is important. We're just not managing the waste from it like we should. Just like, do you remember, we've talked about Skylink, do you remember in the 70s, the commercial of all the litter with the Native American guy crying at the end? That was a very powerful commercial. And, I drove past a bunch of junk on the road the other day where somebody just dumped stuff out. I'm like, did we not learn anything by now about pollution? And it just, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a radical person in this regard. I just think it's not being given the severity and the attention that it needs.
Only at the Academy of Insurance Aftershows can we get a mix of satellite discussion and a mention of Iron Eyes Cody, who was the gentleman that starred in those pollution commercials. So, Brenda Wells, thank you for that.
I didn't know his name, but yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid seeing that commercial and going,
sure,
oh my God, and pollution, trash being thrown out of cars and stuff doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to, but people still do it.
Right.
And that to me is kind of what we're doing in the low Earth orbit is we're just going, well, we don't need this anymore. Let's just abandon it. And I think the IADC has a good idea with that 5-year rule that once it's dead, you've got to bring it down. I think that's a smart move, but I don't know, and I don't mean to sound cynical, but I don't know who is policing that. I don't know if they're monitoring it or if they're just telling people, hey, 5 years, you got to bring it down. You're on your honor. I don't really know the enforcement of it. So it just feels like a very ominous thing to me.
More and more ominous as we keep talking about it. Patrick, what do you think of the topic today in general, the class in particular? And Patrick, also, if you're watching baseball and suddenly a satellite changed the channel you're watching to just have, give you cricket options, would you be happy? So you'd have cable, but you'd only be able to watch cricket. Go.
Okay, we'll start with that, right? Number one, baseball did not come from cricket. I don't care what anybody says. There's just no. And number two, I've never been able to watch a cricket match in its entirety because nobody knows when the thing's ever going to end. It starts on a Tuesday, ends sometime the third Thursday later. There are 75 innings to go, and I was introduced to cricket while I was in Korea, so it's been a long time ago, and I'm not a fan. I don't understand. Wow. I don't understand all the rules. However, having said all of that, if somebody took me out and we got to go playing, I'd probably enjoy myself far more than I should. All of that having said, if somebody replaced my baseball game with a cricket match, I would probably be screaming at my television until something else happened, until I got distracted with about anything else anymore. And So back to satellites. I did while you were talking. I did check when SpaceX does a launch for adding Starlink satellites. They're deploying 60 satellites per launch, and their initial approval from the FCC granted them approval to launch 4,400 Starlink satellites to create this giant, massive constellation of these things in low Earth orbit. And the thing that came to my mind as we were talking about all of this, there's a great opportunity here. We need to create a cargo vessel that can collect all of this junk and use it to build a station on the moon in preparation for, going to Mars or the Starship Enterprise. And I don't even care which. The fact of it is, I mean, this is brilliant, and we need a billionaire investor out there to give us money to do this, or at the very least, we'll research it. Here you go, Brenda, a research grant for you to study it. A grant for George to be the salesman and COO of the operation, and I don't know. We'll pay me to do, I don't know, Yammer for a while. I don't even know. But this is brilliant, and we're onto something here.
You can supervise, Patrick.
I can supervise like the best of them. I've watched DOT. I know how that works.
He's good. Patrick's a good supervisor. Absolutely.
This is brilliant.
There is, I think, if I remember correctly what I read, there is somebody working on a plan to mine the junk that's floating, but I think it's over 34,000 pieces that are 10 centimeters and larger, and then there's thousands, if not millions, of smaller pieces. So, this isn't just get out your trusty vacuum cleaner and suck it all up. I mean, this would take some unique technology to pick it all up. And, and also the people building these satellites need to be building them with collision avoidance capability, as I said. If you're going to spend $250 million, spend another $5 million on collision avoidance or whatever it costs. And, start making satellites that are durable enough that you can bring them back and refurbish them and put them back out in outer space. And again, I'm not a scientist. And I never took astrophysics or anything like that. So I'm only going off of what I know from Star Wars. And
we've watched enough science fiction. We figured this thing out. You don't need degrees. I mean, most joking aside, the idea of these items entering the atmosphere, and most of them, like you said, they'll burn up. So people look at it and go, well, there's very little chance it's ever going to impact me personally directly at my house or whatever. But we don't know what the actual effect is to our upper atmosphere. We don't know what our what the effect is on future ability to continue to launch things into orbit, because if the low Earth orbit gets crowded enough, then you can't push a vehicle through that in order to do other things, whatever it is you might be thinking of. From Elon Musk's idea to colonize Mars, to the Artemis project from NASA to establish a base on the moon, and all of the things that are kind of in between all of that.
Right.
Brenda, thank you again for an amazing class today. And I was going to ask you, because we've got you back on February 12th. Mm-hmm. Who's driving this? Where are we going with autonomous vehicles? Could maybe what is that class going to be all about? And could we classify unmanned satellites as autonomous vehicles and get that coverage going?
I haven't prepped the class yet. I've done a class for Insurance Journal before, but a lot has changed. So I'm going to completely update it. Part of the problem with updating it is Google is a big pioneer in autonomous vehicles. And they used to publish all their results for the public to see. And eventually they moved all their AV over to, I believe it's Waymo. I think they own Waymo.
Yeah.
And they have moved it all there, and now it's all proprietary. So, and that's happened several years ago. So it's hard to talk about the safety record unless you just pull up anecdotal evidence of different isolated incidents. But those incidents matter. I mean, people die because of these cars. And most of the time in the history that I've been able to access, most of the time it's human error that causes the problem. But the cars do have some malfunction. My father told me yesterday on the phone that he heard on the news that the self-driving cars won't stop for a school bus. I don't know how true that is. I meant to look into it, but I'll look into it before the February class. Okay. But, there's just a lot of stuff out there to compile on this. And so I'll be working on that between now and then, but it should be pretty current.
All right.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks. Same.
Me too.
So Patrick, if they used debris to build something on the moon and it was a cricket pitch, would you be offended that it wasn't first a baseball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm counting the days to when spring training starts. You kidding me?
Cricket?
I can smell spring in the air. What? No.
Oh,
no.
Sorry.
No.
Brenda, for the record, I didn't suggest that baseball came from cricket. I was just asking.
It did not.
No. Just so you know.
Yeah. And since I don't watch sports, so, how many home runs do you get in a cricket game, or what do you get in a cricket game?
Apparently just iced tea and fingers raised, and I don't know. Here's an interesting bit of sports trivia for you. This last weekend, the Buffalo Bills flew into Jacksonville to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Bills fans flew in and apparently were greeted in the airport by 3 airport support dogs that work at the Jacksonville International Airport, and Bills fans were treated to dogs at the airport, and it was very nice.
Okay. Very nice.
There. Good news coming in on a Thursday.
I like to hear a nice story. I saw one a couple weeks ago about the Buddhist monks who were walking from Texas to Washington, D.C. And it was a family, and I think they were in Alabama. And they had signs made, and this little girl was handing these monks bags of food, and it was just very sweet. And I was like, that's a good story. That's a good thing to see. It makes up for a lot of the bad stuff that we see and hear.
Sure.
For sure.
Patrick, cricket has innings. Does that make you like it a little more?
No. No.
All right. Okay. And
what are you trying to do to me, George? This is our first after show together of the year. Are we trying to?
Well, that's enough out of me then. There is no acknowledged inventor of cricket, but I guess you could say, like, instead of Abner Doubleday, maybe like Abner Triple Night or something. Like the opposite, whoever that would be. I don't know. Dr. Brenda Wells, fantastic class today. Always a pleasure to have you here, and looking forward to February 12th. Patrick is the batsman to my bowl. Oh no, never mind. No more cricket reference. I'm sorry.
Why do
Spring
you do
training
this
for
to me?
baseball. We're looking forward to it. So, on behalf of Patrick and Dr. Wells, this is your host George saying thanks everybody for coming to the after show today, and we will see you next time, February 12th, of course. But next time we have an after show, so which will be sooner than that. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Cricket.
Take me out, sticky wicket.
Stop it.
Batsman and the bowler.